Hi guys, I thought I'd do a bit of a catch-up video. I've had a lot of comments on the YouTube channel and I thought the easiest way to answer the questions is to talk to you directly as I am now. So I'll just go back a couple of weeks. There's been a few things happening just to bring you up to speed. Another video comes out this weekend when I go flying for the first time in a friend's 3-axis. See how that goes and enjoy the little flight that we have. And what else has been happening? So right now I'm trying to see if I can get a different propeller, but there's some requirements to be able to enable that to happen legally. The other option I'm actually looking at is, well, you'll see in the videos coming up, maybe we can repair the existing, well, not repair the blade, but replace the blade that's broken, or the blades, or I don't know, or just go with the same propeller that was already on there. It's a 68-inch warp drive, which is what P&M Aviation specified for that aircraft. So we'll see where that goes. What else is happening? We've got some success with the engine. Progress is being made there. A few little sticking points along the way. The instrument panel mock-up is built. You'll see that soon too. And we've done a second update to the parts orders, and we're just awaiting, I guess really now, confirmation of the final price and delivery of parts, which could take a few weeks, probably even 6 weeks. They've got to build a wing. We'll go through all that. In some of the upcoming episodes as well, we'll be looking at what will it take to actually make this aircraft airworthy again and able to fly. Let's get into the comments. So if you've sent me comments and you've sent me encouragement and you've sent me something to help me work things out a little bit, I really appreciate what you've been doing, because it's helping to encourage me on my journey back to flight. Try and get this going. So as I said, I'll only go back 2 weeks. So 3 weeks ago, I think we did this one. Keep your chin up, Stu. At least you're still here. Stuff catches us out very occasionally when we least expect it. You'll be back if I know what you are like. You'll be back if I know what you're like. The bank balance may take a bit of a hit, but it looks like you'll heal okay, like your aircraft will, after it has had a little surgery. And I'm so looking forward to you getting back in the air and enjoying what's important in your life. Regards, Planey. Thanks, Alan. As I said, I'm pretty sure I've answered that before, but those are the kind of comments that spur me on and reevaluate where I'm at and to make the decision to go ahead. From all the comments I've seen, guys, I think most of you know that the drive and the passion in me to fly is too high to just let it go. So there will be a process to get back flying as a pilot in command, and that's all part of this series really, as to how that looks. Dean Snow, the thing about a windsock is it will show wind activity and its radius. So if you've seen the previous videos, I've been analysing the crash. Why did it happen? I'm still searching for answers as to how to prevent it happening again in the future. So, is it just one of those things? I don't know. Anyway, so wind activity and its radius. So the sea off to your right gives you a much larger picture of the area's wind activity on that day. The wind is offshore and clearly darker patches of pressure flowing over the land can be seen. It's patchy down air or rotor. Your mate was lucky. So my friend Greg landed before me. He didn't get smashed. There could have been more issues before and after the crash that we didn't know about, and I just happened to be hit. I think it was more like probably 20 to 30 feet above the ground. I thought it was 10, but I think it was more like 10 meters to be frank. I don't know. I got so many missing memories of that landing, understandably, I guess. You unfortunately drew the short straw. I certainly did. Good luck with the rebuilding. Thanks, Dean. Okay. There's still, to me, no evidence that there was wind off the water. However, Richard Hewden, he has contacted me and shown me what could have happened, how a thermal could have lifted off inshore, dragging air off the water across the runway, causing rotors over the cliff. And it was just one of those brief moment things. It could have been the first thermal of the morning because it was only about 8:45 in the morning. It wasn't that warm. It was still early, but it could have been about the time that the thermals were starting. So I don't know, and I've got over 1,000 landings, and just because of that, don't get me wrong, it's not that I think that, hey, I know what I'm doing. It's a new experience. Every landing is different, okay, and I'm certainly learning a lot of things from this one. Trevor P. Would be good to see all of the approach from the front camera view, but you changed view at 4:34 to it seems like a simulated view, and also RPM in your telemetry. The RPM, for some reason I had the RPM dropping off gradually from, say, 500 feet on the way down, from 3,000 RPM to pretty much idle just before the crash. Airspeed was good, ground speed was okay, like good, indicating 10 knots I suppose. The reason the video, I've said this before, stops at that point is because I had the camera buffering, connected to external power, which meant any video that was buffered and not yet written to the card at the time of the crash, the power was removed from the camera and that video was lost. That's as far as the video goes, and I had to animate it to show and demonstrate what I remember happening. And basically, in a nutshell, first sign I had was I got over the trees, which weren't very dramatic anyway, nearly onto the threshold at about 20 to 30 feet. And as I came in, I felt the aircraft shift sideways. The right wing went down. The ocean's on my right, so it was ocean side. The wingtip went down, which is where the cliff is. It's about a 30-40 foot cliff. So if any wind did come over just because of a thermal inland, that's where it would have come across, rolled across there. My right wingtip's gone down, and then I've gone, oh, trees, because I'd noticed the trees on my left, and I thought I don't want to keep drifting over there. There was still a fair bit of room there, and I just corrected it, and I thought all I have to do is level it out and I'll land. The next thing I remember is blue sky. I don't remember anything after correction. I just remember pitch up, blue sky, and I pulled it down to level it out and continue the landing. I only had about 10 feet to go, but the pitch up pushed me up to 30-40 feet, I don't know, and then I think it indicated about 73 feet above sea level. That cliff is 40 feet, so I'm 30 feet up at that point. I got pitched up, and then I pulled it down to level it out and get the energy back and stop the stall. And the next picture in my mind is green grass and a dashboard coming at me, and I've just known at that point that there's nothing else I can do. But if you listen to the audio in the last video carefully, you can hear me struggling with it in the analysis. I'm struggling to gain control, and bang. I don't know what else I can say. I watched all 4 of your videos as a pilot flying ultralight since 1980. This is from Stone859. Since 1980, both 3-axis and flex wing, and I am flying an Eros Ant and having a couple of mishaps myself. I know how you're feeling. You wake up in the morning and wish you had just had a dream. What I've done as best as I can, and what has helped me, is get the mishap it's in your rear view mirror as quickly as possible. Think and work on positive. It looks like that's exactly what you're doing. As far as what happened to you on landing, I have no idea. The wind, although pretty strong, seemed to be right down the runway. It was. The wind was coming straight down the runway. The windsock was indicating straight down the runway. It was just a conventional landing into wind, no crosswind. And then it went pear-shaped. So yeah, it was. Maybe 10 to 12 knots. Maybe. Could it have been mechanical rotor from some of those small trees at the end of the runway? I don't think so. Maybe it lifted you. No, because I was already past the trees. When you got past it, you kind of got dumped and didn't correct for it quite the way you should have. No, I corrected everything the way I thought I should have. And maybe I didn't. But all the signs I had, I was I was correcting. But I don't know if I did the right thing. And really what I should have done is, as soon as, this is what I heard after the accident, someone said to me, on a stable approach, as soon as you lose your stability, as soon as there's an interruption, I like this, an interruption to stability, go around. Just go around. Flying a microlight in turbulence, and I wouldn't say it was that turbulent, but there were signs. The interruption when I got pushed sideways was my first indication, go around. But we typically in a microlight have an interruption, many interruptions, and if we kept going around every time we were interrupted, we'd never land. So it was one of those things that when I got pitched up, power on and go might have been enough, but that was 3 seconds from impact. By the time I registered that, got the power on, I could have just basically blown myself straight to the ground. I think it was just unfortunate, to be honest. But there's some things I'd like to practice and try and get with an instructor and give myself some different muscle memories, if you like, to respond in different ways. Just a thought. So yeah, I didn't respond the way I should have, maybe. Just a thought. As far as 3-axis versus weight shift, here's my thoughts. Weight shift is easier to fly but harder to fly well. These weight shift machines have so much inherent stability. I think they'd fly better without use in the plane. I think they'd fly better without use in the plane. Don't know what that means, sorry. To get a trike to do what you want it to do, you have to use finesse, and this requires more skill. Thanks for keeping us in the loop and keep looking forward. So yeah, I think you'll agree that I am looking forward and moving forward, and things are getting better. WRD Turkey. Weird Turkey? I don't know. WRD Turkey. When things aren't right, it's always best to go around. Interruption to stability, go around. Agreed. I have no idea what happened. Neither do I. Maybe a rotor hit you at a very critical moment in time. I agree. Thank you so much for sharing. Take care and good luck with your rebuilds. Thank you very much. I hope you look forward to the rebuild in the process. I'll try and give you as much kind of like technical feedback and how we do things. I'm not really sure. I'm learning as I go. Someone said to me recently, you'll learn a lot from your aircraft by doing this, and I agree. I already am. And I'll know more about it and how it's built and what not to do and what to do and all that. Trike channel. By your video on the nose of your trike, it was bumpy ahead already. The nose of the trike was swinging side to side. That's an indicator that there's something going on with the air. It was kind of like that all the way around the circuit, so there was some turbulence around. But to be frank, like, I don't want to be cocky about this or anything. I've been in worse conditions and I've survived before without incident. So I wouldn't consider the turbulence shown in the camera to be something to shy away from. It wasn't, like, for me, it wasn't a big warning sign, just to be cautious on landing. And again, I'll have to say that on landing, something big happened with the wind. Something different, something out of the ordinary. That's all I can say. It also means be prepared for unknowns when you get down close to the runway. And I was so close, the unknowns that hit me, I had no time to really do much. Except go around, maybe. Most likely you had an onshore breeze mixed with thermals, mixed with rotor coming off the ridge, screwing up your approach and flare. Plus you're landing on the dirt and not pavement, which means that the trike isn't going to stick when you touch down. Well, I never got to the dirt, never got to land. You can land a trike screwy on pavement and usually it will straighten itself out. Soft grass, soft dirt, and it can dig in and slide or dig in. If it's hard ground with grass, sometimes that sliding can save you so that you don't roll over, I think, as well. So you don't dig in, bend the front wheel into the frame of the trike and make the front wheel lock up and flip the trike like it did mine. Power on landings have saved me many times from making bad landings and gave me a way out. I could land at 48 miles per hour, but I chose to land at 58 to 54 miles per hour with power. It seems easier since I have control rather than let off the gas and let the trike wander to when lets itself land. I will sometimes burn up the runway looking for the best timing to land as well, but it's never I have to gotta land right now because that will end badly. Agreed. You shouldn't touch down until everything's stabilised and straight, of course. Keep enough energy over your runway in case you need to fly out and go around. Well, I had 55, reducing actually, knots, and I got pitched up. 55 is 36 is stall, so, and I wasn't at maximum takeoff weight either. I was on my own, fortunately, otherwise we would have been heavier. In fact, if I was heavier I would have come in faster as a result, and I would have probably had more inertia, which would have meant that the wind would have had less effect, so it could have been safer. Kel61, g'day Kelvin. So, woohoo, so it begins. I am so very much looking forward following this series. A sparkles rises from the ashes like the phoenix, and so looking forward to seeing her in person at the Brisbane Air Show in June next year. Thank you so much, Stuart, for going ahead with the rebuild. I knew you would. Oh yeah, thanks Calvin. Brisbane Air Show, gee, we've tried to do that a couple of times already this year, and it's been postponed and postponed, so yes, it looks like we'll have it built by June. I'm supposed to be going camping, if you don't know, overnight, 2 nights at an air show, under wing camping, and that was going to be my big effort for the year, but it's been canned and now I don't have a plane in the meantime. Whispering Eagle, hey CB, good to see you're rebuilding, you look better. There's a lot of shock after something like this. I still think that Wagger in the sock was, Wagger in the sock was breaking thermal, which when you were in round out, almost in round out, you were in the backside falls. That would have pitched your nose first. Happened pretty quickly at the wrong time. Yeah, you guys know a bit more about this wind thermal stuff. I'm not a hang glider pilot from the past, so anyone that's done gliding would understand this stuff better. But again, all these signs, I didn't really see anything on the water. The windsock, I think, did a little dance just before I was going to touch down, and that's when things went pear-shaped, and I think it just all happened at the wrong second, if you know what I mean. Please excuse me, JR, if I don't say your name. Gendrick Rossica. Hope that's right. Make sure that you film everything and keep us informed, and I certainly will try to do that. And if you have any technical questions or things you want to see as I'm rebuilding, deconstructing and reconstructing the trike, please let me know. There's some interesting stuff coming up. We've got the instrument panel to rebuild and the engines restart and testing and things like that, just to make sure everything's running properly before I go and invest in a whole lot of parts that I can't use. So keep watching for those videos. It would be also very interesting from technical details point of view, the whole procedure. Yes, I know it is still a long time away, but I wish you the first flight very soon again. Yes. I think I'm getting used to the idea of flying again. Right, Atlanta sport flying. Glad you were relatively unscathed. The aircraft can be rebuilt. Perhaps there could have been rotor off the sand dunes, perhaps due to a thermal gust. Actually, I'll just put in here now an image that I found off the beach looking up the sand dunes, and you'll see what I mean. The runway will be just above the top of it. I'll describe it now, so you should be looking at it now. So this is down on the beach. The sand dunes are up on the right, depending on which way I face it, and on top of that is the runway. Now it's quite a height, isn't it? And you can see it's kind of a little bit sloped, so any air coming off the ocean will go up that dune, over the top, off the top, and rotate over the runway. So that is the cliff we're dealing with. But remember, the wind was straight down the runway. There was no concerns about crosswind and rotors. From what people are saying, it looks like there was a thermal inland which would have generated a crosswind. That's all I can think of. And I wouldn't have thought it was late enough in the morning to be able to generate a thermal like that. But, you know, I've been wrong before. Yeah. Yeah, rotor off the sand dunes, perhaps due to a thermal gust. I've flown a GT450 for 400 odd hours and presently have a GTR. If there is likely to be wind shear or it is an airport, I don't know, and the runway is relatively long, 1500 feet or more. I'll fly the approach at 70 plus miles per hour and bleed off speed once in ground effect, and when only a foot off or so off the runway. I remember my instructor saying to me 10 years ago, most dangerous place to be is like 100 feet down to say 10 feet, even 5 feet above the runway. When you come into land, come in high, use a lot of energy, get it down low, get 6 inches off the deck, and then if something goes wrong, then all that can happen is you'll stall and land. But when you're 10, 20, 30 feet in the air above a runway and things go bad, you crash. And I was coming in with a little bit of power and I got a little bit complacent probably, and I didn't read the signs correctly, and that was the result. That's all I can say. And there was a unexpected wind gust mixed into it all, so that's what happens. Energy, speed, and if you've got runway ahead of you, come in hot and bleed off the speed and use the runway. That's my best recommendation at the moment. I'm not an instructor. Talk to your instructor if you need to make sure that you're not getting bad advice from me. I mean, you know, I've had an accident. Fernando Gregorio, just on the speed / wind chart, I noticed that between, this is referring to the rebuild episode 1 video, between 48.04 and 48.05 the airspeed dropped suddenly by 8 knots in 1 second. The headwind dropped but your ground speed remained the same with airspeed, and this is, we're talking like 5 seconds before impact, 4 seconds before impact. That's when it did go bad, and that's what happened. So he's saying, yeah, something's happened. Ground speed, with airspeed and ground speed only 5 knots apart, and you gained altitude by 35 feet in 1 second. That's an instant climb rate of 2100 feet per second, not a stall. Correct, I didn't stall initially, but I think I lost all airspeed doing that. And that results, of course, in when I pulled it level to come back down to avoid a stall. If I had no speed, I had no control, and I had no flying capability, and I plummeted into the ground. Anyway, I believe that you are a great pilot, and it was just some unfortunate set of circumstances. My novice opinion is that the wind turned from straight down the runway to a slight left crosswind from the trees. See, it's mixed opinion, I don't know. Giving you, now if the wingtip goes, if the right wing goes down, I guess the wind could have come from either direction if it was rotating like this. That there was some sort of spiral wind coming off, the wind over the cliff would have gone that way, which would have caused the right wing to go up, but the right wing went down, and I reckon something came across that way, so it could have been something off the trees. I don't know. Add your comments and theories, that'd be really handy. My novice opinion is the wind turned straight down the runway to a slight left crosswind from the trees, giving you close to the ground. If you look at the windsock in these photos, it's in the same position and very benign. It's like, and so that headwind disappeared for a moment. That's right. The wind swung one way or the other. Please keep inspiring new pilots like myself. Thank you for that encouragement, and I wish there were more Microlight pilots in the world like us that really do know the enjoyment that comes from flying these machines. If these weren't worth flying, we'd all be flying 3-axis, wouldn't we? But we know that these things, it's only 3-axis pilots that haven't tried these that sort of say, oh, they're not real planes or whatever. And I'm trying not to be hard on you guys that think that way. Just give us some appreciation for what these are, because these are fun. And I know a lot of you would appreciate that. It might have been a small but powerful thermal that pitched your nose up. Again, same kind of information. Thanks Sam Huff for that. Next one. Did you end up chatting with the residents? Not really. Maybe that's Matthew Collis. What, local knowledge? I don't know. Oh, this is another video. Matthew. I am a local resident. A river is born. I see what you're saying. So at the top of the river, I did a video series that I flew from the mouth of the Mary River at River Heads in Harvey Bay, where I live, 200 odd kilometres inland up to where the river starts, to the river mouth, and I found where it started. We videoed it. It's in a series called Finding the Source of the Mary River. It was done about 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago. And yes, I did go to the property, and yes, I did have a chat, but I didn't get to actually, he didn't know anything about where the source of the Mary River was. He'd only been there 8 months. Anyway, it's another story. He didn't know, and he wondered actually, and I said, well, I think it starts on your property. And then it was after that that I filmed and photographed and finished the last part of that series. So if you want to watch that, it's quite interesting. I fly the full length of the river. It's quite enjoyable. Good morning. No wind, no turbulence, it was good. Lance McNaughton. Man, I feel for you, Stuart. Been through the same myself. Best of luck with it all, mate. Patience is hard, I know, but sounds like you are getting there. And it must be such a huge relief to have the support of the manufacturer this far away too. The other trike brands should take note. Okay, fair comment. So we are gauging the support that comes from the P&M aviation manufacturer, and you can monitor that in the series of Rebuild to see how much support they are giving and how well they are able or not to fulfill the needs of us that own these aircraft, because we just want to enjoy and keep flying. Thanks, Lance. Alright, where were we? Just had to change batteries, sorry. Okay, Gravoski. Hi Stuart, hope you're healing. Have you ever thought about wake turbulence and the crash of Sparkles? Sly question, you would have. Yes, but I very quickly dismissed it. My friend was 2 minutes ahead of me, and with the breeze of about 10 knots blowing, His wake turbulence should have cleared out pretty quickly. Very, very light aircraft, drifter, 2-stroke. I don't think it was a factor, to be honest. Otherwise I would have felt it all the way down even before the trees, I'm pretty sure. Greg Comier. Who would want to buy a crashed and rebuilt trike if it is pretty well destroyed? It may cost you more to rebuild than the possible selling price of a rebuilt trike. If it is not too damaged, then I would fix it up, replace damaged parts and keep on flying would be my suggestion. You are still too young to give up flying. Thank you. How old do you think I am? By the way, I also flew my trike, RW50 with a 100 horsepower Suzuki auto conversion Eros Profi TL wing to 10,000 feet AGL in Florida in 2018. I will be 76 in January. Yeah, I'm not that old, but you've still got a lot of flying time too, which means yes, I certainly do as well. Glad you are not hurt too bad. Who would want to buy a rebuilt trike? Well, most of the parts are being replaced, including the wing, and the engine's being fully tested and checked. So if those two things are new or working as they should, respectfully, then there's no reason that the aircraft won't be a good trike. So yeah, that should be okay, I don't think. And for me, if I'm flying it too, I'll be the one getting the life out of the trike. I don't have any plans to sell it, but when I do, I'm sure it won't be too bad a thing. Heli Handler, some thumbs up from you. Nice to hear from you. And he also says, hey mate, just seen your vid and share your pain as I went through the same process. Long story short, I took 3 years building an Escapade 3-axis plane just to see it crashed on its first test flight by the more experienced pilot, and with me in the aircraft to watch it all happening in slow-mo so you get every action in your dreams. And I was mentally screwed up for ages. I hope you don't mind me reading this out, but it is here in public on YouTube. My wife will tell you that I was on suicide watch. Bless her for getting me through it all. Yeah, initially it's like, where do I go from here? It's too much to deal with. Has this really happened? All these things flood into your head. And I think the healthiest thing you can ever do is just get on with it and move forward. Don't give up. Decide what you want to do and go with it and do it. And you guys on YouTube, like, the encouragement and support, assistance you give is priceless. Like, if I was a pilot just flying without any community to support me, because my friends, family and acquaintances don't understand flying. They're not pilots, and the pilots I do know generally fly 3-axis and they don't appreciate microlights, I suppose. And many of them, until you've been in an accident, you don't know what it is to go through one. So if I wasn't supported by you guys, I don't know where I'd be right now, but I certainly wouldn't be able to talk to you about this, and I just so much appreciate your assistance through this and the comments that you're giving. Thank you so much again. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you got through it, Heli Handler, and flying a better plane. That's awesome. Mine'll be a better plane too. It'll be the same plane but with a few little modifications. Legal or changes. Probably should say changes. They're not really modifications. And he says, don't forget PMA, mate. Positive mental attitude. Thanks, Heli Handler. And again, a joke. Your arm. An English comic, Tommy Cooper, said, he went to the doctor and said it really hurts when I put my arm up there. And the doctor said, well, don't bloody do it then. Problem is we have to use our arms, don't we? Golf Foxtrot 22, Giles, hi. It will be interesting to watch the rebuild. Yes, it will be interesting for me to do the rebuild too. I'm sure we would all wish it wasn't needed, but we are here to support, and as I've just said, Your encouragement and support is valued more than you realise. Just your little comments that help me know that you're there, you're in the background to help and assist and support and encourage. Can't say much more than that. That's about all we've got at the moment. Thanks for your comments and your encouragement. Got a few things coming up. One of them is this. I bought this to replace my old landing light, which got slightly damaged in the crash. It's an LED motorcycle driving fog lamp. Very bright, twice as bright as the other one was. Draws less than half the current. We'll see how it goes. We'll do some testing and you'll see those results shortly. Thanks for watching. Come again soon. Watch the video coming up this weekend. My first flight back in the air. Bye for now.